of ours. In the name of peace we gather here now. Oh Lord, please make these days of ours on this earth filled with peace. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back to your program, Heroic or Heretic. In this program, we've been discussing a lot of issues related to these modern extreme jihadi groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, and some of the doubts and some of the issues that we raised. And we have seen a lot of, unfortunately, not a lot, but a few youth here and there like some of what they say, some people deceived by their messages. So I thought it would be important for us to know really, are they heroes or they heretics? Are they revivalists of the jihad, or they are people who changing the concept of jihad in Islam and transfer it to be something ugly, something terrifying, something not the way it is in the Quran and the Sunnah. And we've been discussing so many issues related to this topic. And the last time we were talking about the concept of jihad, and specifically and what the jihad means. And I remember we were talking about Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah statement when he said that the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam never started a war with anyone. All the Prophet Prophet's wars, according to Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala, were basically a war because he was attacked first. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was not looking for just to kill people, to fight people. Actually, the number of people who were killed during the battles of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam are very few. Comparing to the number of casualties that we see today. Yes.
Yes, and you know, subhanAllah, there is a very interesting point. After the Hijrah and after the Prophet migrated to Medina, there were about 5 battles: Badr, Uhud, Al-Khandaq, Khaybar, and Al-Ahzab. Al-Khandaq, yes. Yes, Fath Makkah. So I'll stop here. So all these battles, or these battles of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you know, the disbelievers, the kuffar, came to fight there in Medina, just close to Medina, on the borders of Medina. After 8 years after Hijrah, the Prophet said, "Al-an naghzuhum wa la yaghzuna." So, you know, the initiative, the transgression, it was on behalf of the kuffar. But right after that, the Prophet said, now we invade them and they not invade us. And well, when we look at this invasion, how was it? It was, you know, ultimate tolerance, ultimate love, and, you know, showing merciful feelings towards the disbelievers, who are the, you know, the people of the Prophet and the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So there's no transgression, there's no transgressing initiative in Islam.
Yeah.
Very good. Yes.
And I just heard before, like one of the scholars, his name is Raghib al-Sirgani. He said that Muslim casualties plus disbelievers casualties, they were about 1 to 2% of the armies that engaged in battle. If we compare this, for instance, with World War II, we can have the casualties, they are more than 350%. So how is it possible?
2.5% of the whole entire humanity's population died in World War II.
And actually 15 million military personnel were engaging in this war, and 45 million people died. That means that
45 million.
Threefold of the people who died, they are civilians, actually.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. See, this is what's so frustrating for me, that al-jihad is a beautiful concept. Just looking at the jihad in Islam, it's a beautiful concept, a very good model for humanity today. But unfortunately, with these extreme, that's what extremism does. It turned what is beautiful to be ugly. It turned what is pure to be impure. That's the problem. Yeah, unfortunately. You know, one of the things that we're talking about is the issue of al-masalih wal-mafasid. This is a very important rules in Islam. That anything in Islam is based on comparison between advantage and disadvantage, pros and cons. Anything in Islam, there is more advantage of anything Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala legislate than disadvantage. Okay? And anytime you find there is more disadvantage than advantage, this is something you've not been asked to do. You've not been asked to practice. If you apply these rules to the concept of jihad, which is al-fuqaha and al-ulama rahimahumullah did, you will be very easy for you to judge the action of these extremist groups. Many times I tell young brothers and sisters, I ask them a direct question. I said, can you please just give me one benefit? Can you name a real benefit that the Muslim Ummah gained from 9/11?
Nothing.
Give me just real benefit that the Muslim Ummah gained after the attack in London on the bus and on the...
7/7.
Say that again?
It's 7/7, I think.
7/7. Give me a real benefit that the Muslim Ummah gained after the attack in Madrid, or the attack in France, or anywhere, or bombing the Shia's masjid in Iraq. What did we benefit from Al-Qaeda? What did we benefit from ISIS? What's the Ummah have benefited from?
Nothing but corruption,
you know what?
And destruction.
It was the invasion of Afghanistan, the invasion of Iraq.
Destruction.
It is a destruction of basically the da'wah lost a lot. A lot of doors were closed. You know, what's the Ummah have gained from assassinating leaders, or blowing up a building, or the Pakistan's, if you guys remember, there is a school, children's schools blown up, murdering children, or in Russia, murdering children. What does benefit the Ummah? And this is a question that we have to be very honest with ourselves. History have documented to us what happened when foolish acts like this took place.
Yes.
When Khawarizm Shah, the king, one of the Muslims' kings, killed the ambassador of Genghis Khan, the Mongol. And he killed them, and he sent their, even you're not allowed to kill messengers or ambassadors, but he killed them to show, because at that time Mongol were in war in China, so he knows that he's not going to invade his basically his kingdom in Afghanistan at that time. So what did he do, Genghis Khan? He turned the war from China to, he did not only wipe Khawarizm Shah, he went all the way to Baghdad, killed around 2 million people, destroyed the biggest library in the world, and he moved all the way to Syria. And we all know what happened next.
Millions were killed.
What did we benefit from this foolish acts? And I can go on and on. You know, Umar radiallahu anhu wardah used to say, Muslim wahid ahabbu ilayya min fathi Medina. Yani to save the life of one Muslim is more beloved to me than conquering one of the city of the mushrikeens. That's why Umar radiallahu anhu wardah, he said, ما يمنعني أن أؤمر سليط بن قيس إلا لسرعته في القتال فإن الحرب لا يصلح لها إلا الرجل المكيث. I would never let Qais or Sulayt ibn Qais to be a leader because he liked to fight. And I don't like someone who would drag the Muslim to the fight. We all remember the Battle of Mu'tah, that's right?
Yeah.
When the Prophet ﷺ said, he was mentioning the leaders one after another, Ja'far ibn Abi Talib and Zayd ibn Haritha and Abdullah ibn Rawaha, when they died, the Prophet was crying. And he said, and now the banner will be taken, the leadership will be taken by a man, sayfun min siyufillah, one of Allah's what? Swords. Yaftahu Allahu ala yaday. Allah will bring conquered upon his hand, or through him.
Yes, Khalid ibn Waleed.
What did Khalid ibn Waleed did?
Withdrawal.
He saved the army.
He did not, how can you call withdraw fath, conquered? How can you call a withdraw a victory?
This is wisdom.
Because Ibn Hajar said, the conquered and the victory by saving the life of the Muslims.
Yes, because they outnumbered the Muslim army.
Absolutely.
Many.
When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that he referred to al-fath al-mubin, inna fatahna laka fathan mubina. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned the great conqueror. What was that?
Hudaybiyah Pact.
The Hudaybiyah's peace treaty.
Yeah.
It's not the Battle of Badr. It's not the Battle of Uhud. This is completely different than the way that you see today these groups. Look at the war as the best thing, is the best option, the first option. Some Muslims feel that this is, we're looking for fight. No, we're not. And this point that I would like also to say, people say, no, we ask the Shabab or the youth to go to participate in the war, not because they are soldiers, but just to increase the number of fighters and to show that the whole Muslim Ummah together, as we call it, تكثير سواد المسلمين. And even the use an incident where Sa'id ibn Musayyib, rahimahullah ta'ala, went for the ghazw, for the jihad. And he already lost one of his eyes at that time. So he was told, إِنَّكَ عَلِيل, you're sick, you're one-eyed man. And he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, استنفر الخفيف والثقيل. He said, Allah asked the one who's light, easy to have the capability to go, and the heavy one, the one it's hard for him to go for the fight, to join the army and to join the fight. He said, كَثَّرْتُ السَّوَادِ وَحَفِظْتُ الْمَتَاعِ. I will be, even if I can just protect being the end of the army and look after their
belongings
and not a major role in the fight. You know, the problem is, as I said before, they have a fundamental issue that they perceive and they see reality through history. We're not talking about an army made of, today made of horses and camels and belongings that is going to bring the water, and that's not what it is today. War today, modern war today, is a completely different story. You cannot use this kind of examples and apply it to the way the war it is today. And takthir al-sawad, to increase the number of people, is something recommended. But you guys saying it is must upon every single one. You're saying the Shabab must go there. Wajib. Is he not talking about recommended? Also, these words to increase the number and the story of Musayyib, I think it's an emotional talk. I think it's not a practical, not a logical talk. And Allah knows even how authentic this narration is. We have to look we need to look at the advantage and disadvantage of asking the youth just to go like that, and to be in the midst of a civil war that they don't know what would gonna happen to them and what's the outcome of that. That's the reasoning, that's the sound of reasoning. I think we need to take a break, then we come back inshallah ta'ala to finish our discussion about this issue. Stay tuned, and I'll see you soon.
Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace.
Now that we know more about da'wah, what would you say are the characteristics of a da'i?
Sincerity.
Sincerity. Yes?
Good relation with Allah.
Good relation with Allah. Okay.
Patience.
Yes, sir?
Good manners.
Good manners. And there is much more to that. Join us in our program, the Da'wah Workshop, by your brother Dr. Rayyan Fawzi Arab, so that we could talk more about Da'wah exclusively on Huda TV.
Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. Any wise program, common sense, will know that it doesn't make any sense what these jihadists doing today, because it will not free the country from the occupation. It's actually brought more occupation to other countries,
the land of Muslims,
and make things way worse for Muslims.
foreign forces and so forth.
How can
yes,
we ask the
I just had a
Muslim world to
question.
die,
There is a hadith,
to
as
be
I
in war,
heard
and they
before,
don't
that
make
the
their
meaning
own
of it,
weapons?
that jihad
They don't
is
own the
ongoing
weapon.
until the day of judgment.
Even in
The jihad
even
will
in a
keep
just and
going
fair
or
war,
ongoing until
we
the
should
day of
understand
judgment.
our
الجهاد ماضٍ
situation.
إلى يوم القيامة.
A lot of people think this is
and
hadith.
again,
But
and I'm talking
actually,
about
I'm
not a
against
hadith.
just the
That's not a
concept of
statement from the
declaring
Prophet
war
ﷺ.
against people.
That's a statement
But I'm
of
talking
some
about
of the scholars.
al-jihad, like people really
And,
an
like Imam
injustice and
al-Tahawi
occupation need to
in his
be
book,
an
العقيدة
end.
الطحاوية والجهاد ماضٍ إلى يوم القيامة.
So I hope that this issue a little
this
bit
became
is,
a very
is clear.
famous statement, but it's not
now.
actually an actual hadith.
One of the things
there
that
is a hadith
I would like to
close
say
this,
as well in relation to
close
this,
in the meaning to
that
this,
a lot of these
which is
groups
reported
say
by Abi
that the
Dawud
reason behind the
al-Tayalisi
izzah
and Sa'id
of the
al-Mansur
strength of the
في
ummah
Sunan
is
when we had
but
and there is the
this
hadith
is
that
weak
will be
because it has a man by the name of
Yazid ibn Abi
But I think it is very simplistic way
unknown مجهول
to analyze the situation of the
part
ummah
of it
by
والجهاد
only picking
ماضٍ
one
منذ
text and
بعثني
picking
الله
one reason
إلى أن
to make it the only
يقاتل
reason for the
آخر
ummah to
أمة
wake.
الدجال.
You know, at one time the ummah had the concept of jihad alive, and it was weak
until the end of my
during the Abbasis, during the
until
Umayyads, during the
part of
Ottomans,
my ummah
you
will
know,
fight
and
before
many
Messiah.
times in the history.
The same concept.
It was
but
not
again,
the
it's weak.
but this
Strongest
hadith has
nation,
nothing.
It was not the best
situation.
This
for
statement
the
from the
Muslim
scholars
ummah.
means
As a matter of fact, there was a
jihad is
time in
part of
Ummah
Islam.
Muhammad, it
You know,
was
it's
way
not
worse
like
than what we
a
live in today,
temporary
in my
ruling.
opinion.
But it
Can
has
you
to be
imagine a
understood
time
in the
when
light
a
of
group
what we
of
said
people
earlier.
go and take the
As
black
for
stone
the issue
from the
of
Kaaba
and
Muslim kill the people inside the
occupied,
Kaaba?
and that's why it is
yeah,
obligatory
and
upon
they
every single
dump the
person
bodies
to
of
go
the
fight.
Muslims and the
You know,
Hujjaj
these
inside the well of
some
Zamzam.
people quote from
And
the
they
books
take
of
the black
the
stone
fuqaha
21
that,
years.
The slave goes without the permission
I
of
don't
his
think anyone
master,
can
and
do
the
that
woman
today.
goes without the permission of her
I
wife.
think anyone can dare
and
to
the
do
man
that today.
go without his parents' permission. And these
And
codes
there is
are,
even worse
if
example
you
in the
examine
history
how
than
accurate
what you see
these
today.
statements are,
And the concept of jihad was alive, was exist, not a very accurate
from
statement.
being so
in
humiliated
most of the
that
case.
but that's not
the most sacred place
examining it. But what I want to
was
say
attacked
is
and
this,
destroyed.
that
Even the
by hand of
ulama who
Quran,
said al-jihad became
So,
farz ayn if the land
here,
is occupied,
what I say,
they said, is it true
farz
that the
ayn upon
jihad
who?
bring
Not
solve
upon
every
single
solution?
Muslim.
I'm going to make
Upon those who
I'm
are
gonna give an
capable
example, but I
of
hope
fighting.
it cannot
Feel
be
free if you don't agree
farz
with
ayn
me.
upon the woman who don't know how to fight. I don't know.
It cannot
even
be a
if you
farz ayn
guys
upon people
live
who
that
don't know
part or
how
not.
to. You're old enough to
contribute
remember
to the
that.
war,
But
to the fight.
because
every
single
it
rule
might
in Islam
sound
is based on
controversial.
al-qudra.
The jihad that took place in Afghanistan,
وسعها
Allah
against
only
Russia.
asks you to do what
And
you're
against
capable of.
It
Me
was a
and you
jihad
and
fi
him,
sabilillah.
what
It
our
was
capability
whatever
today
you call
to
it. And
remove
these
the
jihad
occupation
groups,
of
everybody
any
called
one of
that
these
one.
countries.
My
We don't
question
have
is,
the ability
and
to
the
do
result
that.
of it,
we
a
must do
civil
what
war,
we're capable
a bloody
of.
civil war,
You know, that's
for
why
10 years.
anytime I get a chance to
That's
talk
the
about
outcome.
the occupation of
Then
Palestine,
the outcome
I
of
do
this civil
jihad with my
war
tongue.
was
And I
thought
say,
about
this
as
is
a
not
state
right.
before
I
it was
explain, I
fought.
share
It was
in
destroyed
my social
by
media,
the,
speaking about it, whenever
basically
there is,
the
that's
international
what we are
coalition
capable of.
led by America at that time.
But these kind of,
but regardless,
or in
I'm
Iraq
just
or in-
asking here a
when
very
occupied
honest
at that
question.
time, we were
That was a
against the
jihad.
war.
If
We stood
it's
up and
true
we
that the
spoke,
jihad
we
is the
wrote letters
only
to
thing
our
going to
Congress and
change
our
everything in the
senators and
world,
to our president
tell
at
me
that time,
what
and
this
we,
country
protested
have
in the
contributed
streets
to the
and
Afghan
we did
people.
everything possible to show that
in
we don't
education,
agree with this war.
in health,
We don't agree with the
area,
occupation
in
of this
economy,
land.
in
Afghanistan
any
as well.
field that you can think of.
So, but that's what
Nothing.
we're
It was the
capable
worst
of.
country in the world.
But not to,
When it comes to
make
many
an
actions
areas.
that cause more
What
problems,
did we do?
even
To the
justice
problem
and
that
fair and
exists.
social justice was not
and
exist.
no doubt that
It is
any
so
aql, any
just
wise person has a
to
common sense
deceive the
will know
youth
that it doesn't
and
make
telling
any
them
sense
that
what
if
these
we just
jihadis
declare
do
jihad
doing
and we have
today,
what we
because
call
it
the
will
war,
not free
every
the country
problem in
from
the
the
world
occupation.
will
It's
be
actually
solved.
brought
That's
more
not true.
occupation
We
to
need
other
everything.
countries.
We have different pillars.
And make things
Exactly.
way worse.
So we have
for,
to keep that.
Muslims.
I'm not at all
putting down my
how
beautiful
can
brothers
we
and sisters in
ask the
Afghanistan.
Muslim world
I'm not
to die,
at all
to be
dismissing
in war,
the
and they
thousands
don't
of people who
make their own
sacrificed their
weapons.
life
They don't
during
own
the
the
war against the
even in a just and fair
forces
war.
who occupy
We should understand
Afghanistan.
our situation.
Now, Allah, I have
As a
more
Muslim.
respect for
And
myself
again, and I'm
for
talking
my
about
brothers and
not,
sisters
I'm against
to
just
never
the concept
ever
of declaring
undermine
war
their
against
work
people.
and their effort.
But I'm talking about
But what
reject,
I'm
like
trying
people
to
really
say,
that
an
this
injustice
again,
and
that
occupation
way of
to be
thinking,
an end.
1 or 0, or looking at things from a very narrow.
So
if you remember,
I
we talked
hope
about
that this
very narrow
issue
angle.
a little bit is
That's the
clear.
problem.
It's the same way they look at our
one of the
history,
things that
our Islam.
I would like to
Look
say
at
as
our
well in
religion, the
relation to this,
beauty of our religion.
that a lot
Look
of these
at the
groups
life
say
and the
that
history
the
of the
reason behind
Khulafa.
the
Is the
Izzah
only thing they can think
the
of
strength
the
of the
Sahaba
Ummah
and the
is when we
Khulafa
had
is the fight and the
and they
war.
use the hadith
The only thing you can
that
read
would
in the
be
seerah
humiliated
is the
and
battle.
things of that.
But you don't know
famous hadith.
how the Prophet
I
ﷺ
think
built
it is
this
very
society,
simplistic
how the Umar
way
radiallahu anhu built this
to analyze the
community
situation
and
of the
build the
Ummah
country,
by only
how he
picking one
divided
text
it in a
and picking
very
one reason
unique way,
to make it the only reason for
how
the Ummah to
the
speak.
civilization
at
was
one
built
time, the
by
Ummah
the
had the
hand of the
concept of
Muslims,
jihad alive,
how they
and it
brought
was weak.
a change
During the
to the
Abbasids,
political
during the
scene at
Umayyads,
that
during
time,
the
how they
Ottomans,
brought change
many
to
times in the
the
history.
economy of the world.
It was
at that
not
time.
the
How to be
strongest
organized,
nation,
how
and
to
it was
have
not the
fair
best
and
situation for the Muslim
just.
As a matter of fact, there is
system
a
and fair
time in
just
Ummah
system
Muhammad
towards
it
the
was way worse
citizen
than what
of
we live
that
in today, in my
country.
opinion.
How to build
Can you imagine a time
modern
when a group of
civilization
people
that
go and
respect
take
the
the
black
minority
stone
rights,
from Kaaba
women's rights,
and
humans'
kill
rights?
the people inside
These
the
things
Kaaba.
today we talk about.
And yeah,
But Muslims
and
and
they
Islam and our
dumped the
civilization
bodies of the
built
Muslims
that
and the Hujjaj
hundreds
inside
of
the world
years
of
ago.
Zamzam.
You
And
know,
you take
who
the
was
black
more
stone
effective
21
in
years in our history. Khalid Waleed as a
I don't
as
think
a
anyone can
soldier,
do that today.
it's great.
I think
Man,
anyone can dare
no
to do
doubt,
that
a
today.
companion, or Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali.
And there is even worse example in the history.
What made them great
than what
is
you
their
see
fight
today. Or their
and the concept
contribution,
of
their
jihad
ilm,
was
their
alive,
knowledge.
was exist.
Knowledge
Who you
and
compare
wisdom.
Salah
Being
al-Din
so
was a great
humiliated,
leader,
no
that
doubt.
our
The most sacred place
or
was
you
attacked and
look at,
destroyed
for example,
by the hand
Umar
of
ibn
Abdul
Abdul
Aziz.
Aziz. So
There is
here,
never
what I
declare
say,
a war against any nation.
is it true that the jihad
Never had
bring
engaged in a
solve
single
every
fight
solution
with his neighbors.
I'm going to
Romans
make
or
an
any
example,
example,
but
but I hope yani,
because
feel free if you
there's
don't
no
agree
need.
with me.
There's peace.
Sometimes
also
even
we mix
if you
between
guys
some
lived
of
that
what
part or
happened in
not,
the history,
you're old enough
because
to-
some of
to
these
remember
war
that.
gained
But,
in the history,
as
is
our-
they are
it
kings.
might
They
make
want to
sounds
expand their
controversial.
kingdoms. It's not
the jihad
motivated
that
by
took place in
religious
Afghanistan
reasons. Some
against
people use
Russia.
this as an evidence
And
in
against
jihad. Some of
It
them have
was a
nothing to do
jihad
with
fi
religion. It's
sabilillah,
just
it
a
was
king who
whatever
wants to
you
expand his
call it,
kingdom.
and these jihadi
has
groups,
nothing to do
everybody
with the
called
religion.
that for
And
it.
we have to
My
understand that
question
as,
is,
and the result of it, a civil war, a bloody civil
need
war
to-
for
I
10
think
years.
we ourselves and our
That's
youth
the outcome.
need to look at
Then
our
the
history,
outcome of
look
this
at our
civil war
what the
was
reason
thought
behind
about
the,
as a
the
state
strength
before
of
it
the
was
Ummah
fought. It
in
was
a
destroyed
more
by
comprehensive
basically the
in-
international
look at the
coalition
full
led by America
picture.
at that
I
time
think
after
one
9/11.
of the evidence
But
that
regardless,
the
I'm
police
just
supported
asking here a
at the
very
time
honest
of Umar ibn
question.
Khattab radiallahu anhu.
That was a
I
jihad.
think it was the
If
17th
it's
year
true
after
that the
immigration
jihad is the
of the
only
Prophet,
thing going to
he
change
stopped
everything in the
jihad. He said
world,
that there is
tell
no
me
jihad
what
after
this
this
country
because the Ummah
have
at that time,
contributed
they
to
became
the
zealous
Afghani
and
people.
they had, you know, like
in
focused
education,
on
in
being
health
entertained
area,
and having like
in
a very
economy,
lenient
in
life.
any
So
field that you can
this
think of.
declaration by one
Nothing.
of the
It was the
greatest,
worst country in the
you know,
world.
caliphates in the Muslim
When it comes
history,
to many
and he said,
areas.
stop jihad.
What
So
did
if
we
it
do?
was
Even
a solution
justice
for
and fair and
everything,
social justice
everything,
was not
why would he
exist.
stop it at that time?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is
he used
so
the word sub jihad
just
or not,
to
but deceive the youth.
just general
and telling
rule
them
that
that
if
if
we
we
just
just
declare
declare
jihad
jihad
and
and
we
we
have
historical
a
events,
holy war,
Because
every
we
problem
don't
in
know
the
how
world
authentic they are
will
and
be
what are the
solved. That's
circumstances.
not true.
I think we
Good
need
point.
everything. We need
And that will
we have
bring
different
our
pillars,
episode
like-
to an end.
Exactly. For
So
today,
we have
thank
to
you very
keep
much
that.
for being here.
I'm not
with
at
me.
all
Like to
putting
thank all our
down
viewers,
my beautiful brothers and sisters in
for,
Afghanistan. I'm not at
being with
all
us,
dismissing
today.
the
And
thousands
also
of
like to
people who
extend my thanks
sacrificed
to
their
all our
life
team here in the studio.
during the war
Assalamu alaikum
against
wa
the
rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
communist
This is your brother, Waleed Basyouni.
forces who occupied Afghanistan. La wallah, I have more respect for myself and for my brothers and sisters to never ever undermine their work and their effort. But what I'm trying to say, that this, again, that way of thinking, 1 or 0, or looking at things from a very narrow, if you remember when we talked about that, very narrow angle, that's the problem. It's the same way they look at our history, our Islam. Look at our religion, the beauty of our religion. Look at the life and the history of the Khulafa. The only thing they can think of the Sahaba and the Khulafa is the fight and the war. The only thing you can read in the Seerah is the battle. But you don't know how the Prophet ﷺ built this society, how the Umar radiallahu anh built this communities and built the country, country, how he divided it in a very unique way, how the civilization was built by the hand of the Muslims, how they brought a change to the political scene at that time, how they brought change to the economy of the world at that time, how to be organized, how to have fair and just system and fair just system towards the citizen of the country. How to build a modern civilization that respect the minority rights, women's rights, human rights. These things today we're talking about. But Muslims and Islam and our civilization built that hundreds of years ago. You know, who is more effective in our history? Khalid Walid as a soldier, was a great man, no doubt, a companion, or Abu Bakr and Umar and Uthman and Ali. What made them great is their fight or their contribution, their ilm, their knowledge. Who you compare? Salahuddin was a great leader, no doubt. Okay? Or you look at, for example, Umar ibn Abdul Aziz. Umar has never declared a war against any nation. He never had engaged in a single fight with his neighbors, Romans or any other countries. Because there's no need, there's peace. Sometimes also we mix between some of what happened in the history, because some of these wars gained in the history they are kings. They want to expand their kingdoms. It's not motivated by religious reason. Some people use this as an evidence of the jihad. Some of them had nothing to do with the religion. It's just a king who wants to expand his kingdom. Has nothing to do with the religion. Yeah. And we have to understand that as well. You know, we need to, I think we ourselves and our youth need to look at our history, look at the reason behind the strength of the ummah in a more comprehensive way, and look at the full picture.
Now, I think one of the evidence that really supports what you say, Sheikh, is at the time of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anh, I think it was the 17th year after immigration of the Prophet, he stopped jihad. He said that there is no jihad after this year, because the ummah at that time, they became luxurious and they had, you know, like focused on being entertained and having like a very lenient life. So this declaration by one of the greatest, you know, caliphates in the Muslim history, and he said, stop jihad. So if it was a solution for everything, why would he stop it at that time?
Yeah, I'm not sure if he used the word stop jihad or not, but just a general rule, we don't ever drive rules from historical events, because we don't know how authentic they are and what are the circumstances.
Yeah.
Good point, and that will bring our episode to an end for today. Thank you very much for being here with me. I'd like to thank all our viewers for being with us today, and also I'd like to extend my thanks to all our team here in the studio. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is your brother Waleed Basyouni.
Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace. Peaceful, 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 peace. We made peace a symbol of ours. In the name of peace we gather here now. Oh Lord, please make these days of ours on this earth filled with peace. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam. Salamun, 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 salam.